And you guys get to use your cell phones. Does everybody have cell phones?
No.
I don't use internet.
That's okay. Well then, you guys, she has a computer lab open, so we will use the computer lab then, because you guys are going to look at films and you're going to do research. Because what we're doing today is identifying white blood cells. So there's 5 different types of white blood cells. You guys will identify them. What we'll do is break up into groups of 2 and a random person. So what we'll do is one person, I will have kind of look through the microscope. One person needs to do the research. Things that you're going to be looking for when you do your research is what are the different types of white blood cells. So you need to be able to identify all 5. Then I'm going to hand out these little sort of lab reports. Each group will get one. You guys will find out which one of these white blood cells is abnormal. And I want you guys to specifically research that one white blood cell. So I need to have specifics on what physical characteristics make them different than the other ones. Why are they significant? What types of jobs do they do? And when would you see them elevated? What types of sicknesses would you see them elevated? And with that information that you gather, you guys will make posters. So, my recommendation is for today and Tuesday if we don't have enough time. Okay. So, probably a good idea to partner up with somebody who's slightly artistic. So, alrighty, you guys will be graded based on a rubric. You guys seen these before? Yeah. Okay, so pretty simple scoring sheet, basically 1 through 4. You got 5 different categories. So not only are you based on your use of the microscope and your research, but I also want to see how well you guys work with activities and how pretty your poster is. So don't just throw something together, make it presentable. Virtual field trip. So since we obviously can't really look inside of the cell, we can do fun things like check it out. So one of the biggest things in the cell is the nucleus. Can you guys tell me what does the nucleus do?
Powerhouse.
Not quite, but you're on the right track.
It's like the
What's inside the nucleus?
DNA.
Very good. So what is the DNA?
DNA is genes.
Okay, good. All right, so here's another one, the endoplasmic reticulum. Do you guys remember what that is?
This is cool.
So that's basically a place where transport of all kinds of stuff goes in and out. It's kind of like a subway system for the cell. Major things that go in there are ribosomes. Ribosomes are an important part for building proteins. Okay. You guys have handouts here too. Probably should be looking through some of those because there's an anatomy of the cell handout. You might want to fill it out while we're going through these. The actual anatomy of the cell again. Physiology. There's some important parts of physiology. Different types of transport. Different types of transports are important because that's how everything moves between in the cell and out of the cell. So you have passive transport, which is diffusion and filtration. Do you guys remember what passive transport? What's important about passive transport? Okay, passive transport requires no energy, so no ATP is required. You have 2 different types. You've got diffusion and filtration. Diffusion is basically going from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. So you guys think of any examples where you have something that goes from a high concentration to a low concentration?
Orange juice concentrate?
I literally just said the same exact thing.
No, not quite. How about if you think about you get like sugar water.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have a glass of water and you pour some sugar in it. So usually sugar sits at the bottom, but eventually the sugar solute diffuses throughout. That's an example of diffusion. Filtration is where the water goes from one concentration to a different, but it's more like being pushed, or it needs a carrier. It has to attach onto something in order to be able to go into that spot. So, active transport. Okay, a passive transport required no energy. What do you think active transport requires? Energy. Okay, you have solute pumping. So usually that requires some type of pumping system. Big one in our body is a sodium potassium pump. So it requires certain types of channels where the concentration on one end triggers something on the other end. The other type is bulk transport. And I know you guys went over this recently. Exocytosis. What is exocytosis?
Sweat.
Exocytosis.
Sweat.
Something inside. No, outside.
Get close. You're close. Okay, so what is exo? EX mean? When you think, see the word EX, what do you think?
Outside.
Outside. Okay, so it's going from inside the cell to outside the cell. So basically this is like what the Golgi apparatus takes from, packages it up and kicks it out the cell. That would be kind of exocytosis. Endocytosis. Okay, if exocytosis is going out, what would you think endocytosis would be?
It's bringing something inside.
Okay, and then there's two different types of endocytosis. We have phagocytosis and pinocytosis. Phagocytosis would be okay. Phagocytosis, basically it's eating it. And this Reeves had a pretty little drawing up here this morning of cell eating a molecule. Basically just kind of engulfs around the molecule and brings it in. Pinocytosis is basically it's drinking. So that's when the cell brings in fluids or water.